So Twitter. I like to tell people Twitter is kind of like an online cocktail reception, right? You ever go to a cocktail reception, you don't know anyone there, you feel like everyone else knows each other and they're talking to each other, and you walk toward one, 3 people are talking, and you kind of feel a little coldness coming from them, so you go to the other one, you don't know how to break in. A lot of people get on Twitter and they just see this endless stream of people talking, right? How do you jump in? And what's my strategy for getting on Twitter? And I like to simplify it. What's your strategy when you look at your email screen? What's your strategy when you looked at a typewriter? Right? Will you just stare at a typewriter and say, I don't know what, people are typing things elsewhere and I don't know what to type, right? People are sending emails and I don't know what to send. Well, you have your network of people and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. So if you go to my Twitter account, I just started tweeting and I didn't really know what to do, and I just started tweeting. I looked for people who I knew, got on there and I started talking about social media. Sometimes I'll talk about politics. And then the social media people will yell at me because they don't agree with my politics, and people in politics will like the social media stuff. It usually only goes one way. So you just got to jump in. But again, we talked about Twitter, right? When Frank Eliason started, he just started tweeting, and he let himself, he knew he was out there. They also started using, and I'll get to something called search.twitter.com, and that's something you can go to. It's like a Google for Twitter. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, but if you type in Comcast right there, you can find out everyone in the world who's tweeting about Comcast. And that's how he got in. And you can look, if you go to search.twitter.com, you can look for Hilton Head and find out who's tweeting about Starbucks in Hilton Head, who's tweeting about hamburgers or pizza in Hilton Head. And if you own a burger joint or a pizza joint, you can tweet about it. There's a, we get there a little bit, but I don't know if they have around here, a burger place called Culver's. They have a in Chicago, and my local Culver's in Morris, Illinois, in the middle of nowhere, has a Twitter account. Now, they only have 40 people who follow it, but as a percentage of people who actually live in my town, that's a lot of people. They send out the regular updates. Here's the flavor. This is actually the flavor of the day, and I follow it and I see it, and many times it will draw my family and I to go see and get the flavor of the day. Comcast jumped in and they started finding out, the Dell Hell, you could Google Dell Hell and find out how many people, you could do that with Twitter as well. And so they would find out who was bad-mouthing Twitter, Comcast, who was having issues with Comcast. He dove in and he started emailing them. You can tweet about, and there's been, I can't think of any specific examples, but Dell, when I blogged about Dell and all of a sudden the guy commented on how can we help you, it was kind of freaky. My big brother's watching me, where's this guy at? And with Twitter, it's the same way. Sometimes, and a lot of it is spam, I'll tweet about, just bought my wife a gift basket for Valentine's Day, and next thing I know, I'll get tweets from like 100 different people selling gift baskets. And the people who do it right, do it so it's a little less weird. And people who all of a sudden then I get 300 coupons saying 10% off, then I just delete them or I block them. But again, he tweets, and again, I'm going to bed right now, but I want to see if you're helped. You can't buy customer service like that, and he's got 39,000 people following him, but the most important thing, they use it as a listening device, and they engage, and they find out who's having problems, and they engage. If I tweet something right now that I was having problems with Comcast, there's a good chance that within a half hour, I would get a reply from them saying, how can we help you? Canine Cuisine, we talked about them earlier. They're an online purveyor. Their lifeblood is the internet, is their website. And so everything that they can do to drive traffic, right? And so, again, you look, he's got his personalized picture there. It's Anthony Holloway. He engages with people who tweet about, he's constantly monitoring, he's tweeting about organic pet food, he's tweeting about pets. And he gets involved, and he'll get on there and provide, if someone's having a problem, want to know about heartworm, he'll find them on Twitter and he'll tweet them and he'll give them that, he won't push his product right away, he'll answer their question. And that person will say, oh great, this guy cares, right? It's all about giving. That person will follow Anthony, and over the course, they realize, this guy actually sells dog food. It wasn't the hard sell. And he says that it's very transparent. They use it as a customer service tool as well. And in many cases, he created something called Woof Wednesday. There's these little games on Twitter. There's Follow Friday, where you can pick 5 people out of your following, and you give them Follow Friday, and you name all of them, and they love you, and they say thank you, and it's a big Twitter hug. And then more people in their group follow you. And he created something, Woof Wednesday, or something Monday. I can't remember what it was, but he does that. And there's something called My Smelly. That's her Twitter account. I hope they're talking about the dog. So he gets involved and he tweets them and he engages with them and provides, but the lifeblood of his Twitter account is providing tips and hints that people follow, and he finds out who's having issues, pet issues. He finds them on Twitter. He engages with them. They follow him. And he's got 8,800 followers, and he said it's one of the largest drivers of traffic to his website. Again, it's not the hard sell. It's not the, here's 10% off, here's 20% off, boom, 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 boom. He engages them in a conversation, helps them out, they follow it, and it helps drive traffic. Here's a fun example. We don't work with them, but Koji Barbecue in Los Angeles, there is a company called Koji Barbecue, and they have these trucks that go around, and it's like Korean-style meat and tacos. And they have these trucks outside that serve the late-night drunk crowd at the nightclubs. And so they have trucks everywhere. So they started using Twitter. People come out of the clubs, and they're on their iPhones, and they follow Twitter, and they provide the locations of the trucks. And so they'll have hundreds of people deep, people lining up, and people, you know, well, hopefully they take cabs. And then they go to find the truck, and then they line up to get it. And they were in the Wall Street Journal. I saw this guy present out in San Francisco. They have 55,000 people following. And so that's how they use it. And you can see they're going to be at 10:20. Their estimated time of arrival at Altadena. And that's all they do. So there's no right or wrong way to use Twitter. There's a company I talked about in the Facebook section, United Linen, and they sell linens, and I think they actually clean it as well, laundry services to restaurants, probably hotels. And they don't have a huge Twitter following or Facebook following, but they have enough. They're important people, that they're customers, and they provide value to their customers by tweeting and Facebooking online video. It's not fun stuff, but they have little how-to videos about how to fold napkins, right? How restaurants fold napkins. So the restaurants drive their people there who learn to fold napkins, and they have the Twitter following that's important to them. A lot of people get hung up, and I have 20,000 followers, I don't have 30,000 followers, and there's a lot of people who try to do that. I have 2,300 followers, and that's about probably 2,000 too many. And so don't get hung up on that, but whether you're talking about Facebook or Twitter, really think about the network that's important to your business, not the network that compares to so-and-so, like, you know, Kim Kardashian, or, you know, Ashton Kutcher, I think, was in a competition with CNN to figure out. But it's amazing, you know, people tweet their daily lives, and the mundane is very important. And we work with political candidates, and does anyone really care that I stopped at the Arby's on my way to the Peru Lincoln Day dinner? Yeah, people do. Believe it or not, people do. And I don't know why, but they do. And it's kind of this voyeuristic, you know, society, but it also helps put a face. Why does Frank Eliason post that he's going to bed? Because it adds a face to the company that you never had before. You know, why did I, at the beginning of this, why did I go through who I am? Why, you know, on the off chance, somewhere in the world that there's another White Sox fan, right? Boom, I made a connection, right? And that's what Facebook is, that's what Twitter is. It adds that different dimension. Again, you can't send out that press release and duck for cover. You actually have to build that relationship. When you go to a cocktail party or a cocktail reception, right? What do you talk about at first? You talk about small talk. And the small talk leads to, you talk about your kids, you talk about, my wife talks about scrapbooking, you talk about football, and then it'll lead to, oh, what do you do for a living? I mean, I travel a lot, and I sit on the planes, and I'll pull out my iPhone, and I'll start working. The guy next to me is, oh, this happened 3 times. Oh, what apps do you have? And we'll talk about that, and the next thing I know, we're talking about business, and there's a business card exchange. So most of these things, right? How much business, we're in helping that, how much business gets done on the golf course, right? Golfing may have nothing to do with the widgets that you're selling, except for the fact that you're having a off-topic conversation. It's this mundane conversation. So I know, you know, my favorite is on now defunct Conan O'Brien when he does the Twitter segments, and he takes, you take any tweet at all, and it sounds hilarious just in the scheme of it. You know, I'm going to get a pizza. Word up, you know, something like that. But there's a reason, you know, they follow those people. I mean, why do people buy magazines, celebrity magazines? It's the same reason. They feel like they know these celebrities. So why do they follow on Twitter? They feel like they're actually having a conversation with them. And so it's the same thing, whether you're a celebrity or a local business, you keep people engaged, you use it for different reasons.